there are so many things now that give us community around it, that it helps us regulate our symptoms and therefore improve our quality of life as we're going through the inevitable journey of menopause.
As a living, breathing human, you are someone, you know someone, or you love someone on the menopause journey. And I'm now on the other side of this myself, but I still have questions about how to stay healthy, mind, body, and spirit. All the questions there. Because it's more than just hormones. It's befriending your body. It's understanding the signs and acceptance of this beautiful aging process that we go through as women. And if this isn't you, this conversation is going to help you support those who are going through this journey. So I've invited my friend Erika Shannon-Hathaway on the show to have a little girl chat, answer your questions, and help you walk away from this conversation with a clear understanding of how you can embrace the change. Now, some of you tuning in might know Erika because we've spent some time together, a number of years on Daily Burn 365, that live streaming fitness show we were both on. But Erika, my dear friend, you have not only been in this fitness industry for close to 2 decades. You started making that womanly change yourself and said that you want to do more, not just for yourself, but for those you serve. Because you've been a coach as a fitness instructor for years, as someone who has been in this field for so long. And now as a certified menopause coach specialist, you are helping women pave a new way. So thanks for being here. This is so great. I really love that we're going to be talking about menopause.
Thank you. It is so great to be here with you, Hilary. And it's always just like a reunion to see the old gang from DV365. I love you all so much. And thank you for doing what you do with this podcast. I think you help and serve so many people who really need it. And it's just a real privilege to be here. So thanks for having me.
Well, I love having my DV365 friends on, but this goes so much bigger, as you know, being the work of holistic health. And thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's just, we're here to serve. And I remember us having a conversation about just health in general. And when we were on the show, and I was actually a participant on the show while you were one of our amazing trainers, we were given health coaches. And this was a fairly new industry, the health coaching world, which I wound up being on the other side as a health coach myself. But having support and having guidance and having somebody who understands what you're going through to be that guide by your side is really helpful. Like having someone be that guide to answer questions you might have, or just kind of be the sister or the brother that you need, And you've embraced that as well when you were going through this menopause journey. You found yourself a health coach.
Yes, I did. I didn't know. I knew that I was experiencing the beginnings of perimenopause, but I also thought, I'm just so stressed out and I'm not giving myself the self-care I need. And I feel like there's something hormonally off with me. So I hired a holistic health coach to help me out. And really at the time, what I wanted was for her to get all of my levels and do all my hormone testing and my blood testing and just give me a magic pill to make it all better. That's what I really wanted. And this is me having been in the fitness and wellness industry for, at that point, it had been about 15 years. It's been 18 years now. But I was like, okay, I don't have time to do anything other than what I'm doing. And I don't want to stop drinking. And so give me a pill. Tell me what's wrong. Tell me what I'm missing and let's supplement it. And she was great in that she really honored, like I told her what I wanted and she gave me it, but it didn't fully help because there were certain lifestyle changes that I needed to make, but also my cortisol, I had no cortisol. Like I had burned through it all and I was operating with the lowest cortisol imaginable. And it was totally throwing me off. I was gaining weight and it was a mess. So we worked through a lot of things and I did make significant improvements during that coaching time. But it wasn't until I started really tuning into my own body that I started fine-tuning even more. And then just in the last year and a half, my journey with getting more involved from an educational standpoint about what perimenopause and menopause actually do to your body and how I can help not only myself, but all of the people that I've been teaching for so long. We're all growing together and aging together. And so everybody needs it. 100% of
Yeah.
people with ovaries are going to go through this. So
Mhm.
I'm really grateful to have the knowledge that I have now. I've basically made fun of myself and apologized to my health coach about how how idealistic and stupid I was, just being like, give me a pill. How much testosterone, what is it? It's like a testosterone booster
Mhm.
supplement. Like, how much Tribulus do I need to take to make myself feel better? But yeah, it's
If
crazy.
and I think that's true with pretty much anything. I mean, we live in a sick care system, not a healthcare system.
I was just gonna say,
Right?
we
And
live we
so
live in a hellscape. It's a hellscape.
it's so true. And we're trying so hard to find the way out or find a way to like easily make this go away, that whatever the problem is. And it's, if it's, and that's something I went through as well. We come from an age where it was like you go to the doctor, you get a diagnosis. And I'm not poo-pooing Western med by any means, but that whole integrative approach and the blend of functional medicine and holistic health is us being our own healthcare advocates to understand and ask questions. I can't say this enough, but with this, what did you call it? A hellscape?
Yeah.
Good
It just came
gracious.
to my mind.
I love it. Write that down. That's a good one. But it is, because it's we're putting too much in the hands of someone else when we really need to ask the questions.
Yeah.
And I remember when my mom was going through it, and I'm just like, you crazy. Like she's
Yeah.
going through that thing, right?
Mhm.
Or pointing fingers at women like, oh, you're just, it's your time of month, which is a horrible thing to say. But when we're going through this part of our lives, which I always say it's almost like puberty for adults.
It
I was
is.
just having, right? I was just having a conversation at my fitness facility with a number of women. And I said, this is like puberty, except we just have a better understanding. We have a fully developed brain, and we actually learn how to not react and respond to what's happening,
Right. It's reverse puberty, really.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
daughter is 11 and she is ramping up for major puberty times. And it is crazy to watch her go through that and see her hormonal changes happening in real time. And
Mm.
also, it makes me laugh at the timing of what most of us, if we have kids, if you're going through perimenopause and menopause, most likely one of your daughters or sons is going through puberty at the
Mhm.
same time. And it's just it's a hormone invasion in your house. But there are coping mechanisms. And I feel really grateful that I'm able to have conversations with my daughter about menopause and periods and women's health, stuff that
Mm.
my Catholic mom never had with me, not because she didn't want me to be educated in it, but because she had never been educated
Mm.
herself. And she even told me when she went through menopause, she didn't even know she was going through menopause because nobody talked about it. She said, I don't know, I just kind of went through it. I didn't complain. I didn't know that anything was really wrong. And now she said, she sent me something on Instagram the other day. She said, I have never seen so much about menopause in my life. And I said, I know, isn't it amazing? It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it is. I
Um,
mean, I think for us and our generation going through puberty, it was, are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
yes,
Right?
which is
Which, by the
back.
way, I love that movie.
So good. I
I
took my
totally,
daughter.
I felt myself there.
I know. It
Right?
was so good.
And, a health class, which everyone was giggling, which I'm sure kids still do. But here we are at this later stage in our lives, this next phase, and it's really truly understanding who we are, how we're showing up, but also getting the support of those around us, whether it's your girlfriends, whether it's your spouse or your partner,
Mhm.
them understanding it. And also, like you said, having those conversations with your daughter where she knows where you are and you know
Yeah.
where she is. And it really creates a whole different sisterhood, doesn't it?
It does, and it creates a better
Yeah.
relationship because this morning she was having a moment and she was like, "I hate my hair and it looks terrible," and la la la, like all morning she was just in a mood, and I just hugged her. I said, "I love you. Would you like me to plug in the straightener for you?" And she was like, "I love you too. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank
She
you."
just needed to be heard. Just
Yeah,
needed to
they
be
all
heard.
just
We
need to
need
be
that
heard,
too.
and so do we.
Yeah.
So do we. And it's wonderful that we are at this point where we can look at the latest research and where we can advocate for ourselves, like you were saying, with our doctors and our healthcare team. And we can even educate some of our healthcare providers about these things, because the studies that are coming out, the studies that they might have that come into the business, their industry with, are now outdated and debunked, such as the Women's Health Initiative from the late 90s and the early 2000s. And so it is our job to show up and know what is happening, to know what symptoms are actually symptoms of perimenopause. There are estrogen receptors in every major organ system in the body. And so it's not just hot flashes. And the majority of people don't know that. And so how lucky are we that we get to live in a time when we can log on to Instagram and see, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one having heart palpitations when I have a glass of wine. Or, oh my gosh, I didn't know that ringing ears were a symptom of perimenopause. I thought that that there was something wrong, that I had like a sinus infection or something. There are so many things now that give us community around it, that it helps us regulate our symptoms and therefore improve our quality of life as we're going through the inevitable journey of menopause.
And knowing how to support that, which is
Yes.
huge, right? I love
Yes.
that you bring that up too, because there are a lot of things that are outside of the box of what we think happens in perimenopause and menopause. Like, I
Yep.
remember having that first hot flash, and it felt like I was standing over a subway grate in New York City, and then it was gone. And then 5 seconds later, I'm in a hot yoga class, and then it's gone. Like, that's what we think. That's ideally what we think when we are thinking about the menopause journey. But it is so much more. That brain fog that we were just talking about, right? That
Yes.
sets in. How do we support ourselves there? Moods, like our moods, behaviors, that's going to switch too, because something's going on with this vehicle of ours, right?
Yes,
So it's
everything's going on at the same time. Our entire system is recalibrating
Yeah.
to survive without essential life-giving hormones in our bodies. And everything is affected by that. And the more that we can recognize it, name it, and know what to do to make ourselves feel better, it's just going to make everything better for us in the long run, which is why I love this work that I'm doing now as a certified menopause coach specialist. It's just so gratifying to help people. There are the pillars of self-care, right? There's exercise, there's nutrition, there's sleep. Sleep is a major component of being able to regulate your symptoms in menopause and perimenopause. And self-care, even what you do with havening, it is so important. It is so important to comfort yourself and regulate your nervous system, because anxiety kicks in a big way during perimenopause. Not to mention just the stage of life that we're in, where so many of us we talk about the sandwich generation, where people are taking care of aging parents and their kids at the same time. I am deeply in that right now. My mother-in-law has dementia and has just been diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. And then I have an 11-year-old with a broken wrist athlete who is just on the other, like bouncing off the walls. And so in the middle, I have to have really good tools to be able to regulate myself so that I can live a life that I love without getting distracted, and also take care of everybody around me at the same time. And it does take a village.
And absolutely. And it is what women do. We are more of the nurturing. That feminine energy is to nurture. We are the ones that are in the container, filling the container, right? And it's really important to know how to support yourself so you can support others. And by the way, I appreciate you mentioning havening as one of those tools. There are many tools, right? There are many.
Yes.
But being able to self-regulate and self-soothe and for self-care is so imperative, no matter what it is. Like if it's taking a yoga class, if it's journaling, if it's just taking 5 minutes to step away from the chaos to bring that sense of calm, whatever it is really vital for your well-being holistically, the whole body approach.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand is when you are coaching someone, or even I was talking to one of my best friends from high school the other day, and she is in a major state of anxiety right now. She's also hormonally fully in menopause, but she's another sandwich generation person. Her husband's having some health issues at the moment. And her therapist told her that she needed to start meditating or doing some sort of self-regulating, something to tamp down her nervous system. And she was like, I'm sorry, but like breathing isn't going to help me right now. And I was like, well, actually,
It is.
breathing really is going to help
Yeah.
you right now. And I think that carving out little pockets of self-care, I call it microdosing, so
Mhm.
self-care is so important and has tremendous benefits for just regulating your anxiety during the day. And while I said, look, I know there's a lot wrong right now, and yes, breathing isn't going to solve all of the problems, but it is going to take you from a 10 to a 7 so that you can take a deep breath, so that
Mhm.
you can pay attention to a phone call, so that you can maybe get 20 minutes of rest in between one thing and the other. It does
Mhm.
make a difference. Those little things, the havening, all of those things make
Yeah.
a big difference.
All it takes is 2 minutes to do anything to regulate your nervous system.
Yeah.
It doesn't take, but we get in that the brain gets hijacked, right?
Yes.
And the minute that happens, it's like going down this hill and the ball just keeps getting bigger. It's really having the mindset to say, wait, is this true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind when I'm saying that? Think method that we learn, to
Mhm.
stop it and put the kibosh on it before it goes too far. So, with you being a certified menopause coach, and
Mhm.
there's not many certifications out there, so you're really like in it, Erika. And I want to bring attention to that because while there are a lot of people talking about menopause, having this certification, having this knowledge is a level up. And I say that myself with my certifications. I know we're more than our elemental P's after our name, but
Yeah.
there is something about this so that if you aren't able to go to a doctor, there is somebody like an Erica out there that understands us more on a whole body approach level.
That's right.
So I would love for you to share that just so people have an idea.
Great. Yes, there is one certification program right now in the United States that is accredited, which means that for my certification as a fitness professional, I get actual credits for it. It is an evidence based coaching program created by Mollie with Girls Gone Strong. And she is an incredible coach and has incredible programs. And the team of doctors who she recruited to help put this certification together, I think there were 14 doctors. So it's all evidence based coaching. It
Mhm.
is not theoretical. This is evidence based coaching about the pillars of your life that you need to integrate. Now, my scope of practice is not to prescribe
Mhm.
supplements, hormone replacement therapy, any kind of medication. I am not a physician, but what I like to do is work in tandem with your
Mhm.
physician.
Yeah.
I like to refer you to a pelvic health specialist. I will refer you to people in my network who can help you and work with them together, because if you choose hormone replacement therapy, then my job is to give you the tools to use those hormones in your
Mhm.
body to your best and highest good and benefit. So I concentrate on exercise. Clearly, I've been in the fitness industry for 18 years, so I'm well equipped for that. But the type of exercise that you do at this time of life is very different. Of course, there's all the elements of cardio and strength and balance and push pull and all those things. But in menopause, the warm ups are longer, and we want to really concentrate on strength training to build bone density, lean muscle mass, and to mitigate the risks of coronary heart disease, diabetes, dementia. There are so many things that exercise does, especially at this time of our life, that have been proven scientifically. Exercise is a definite boon to help us stay healthy as we age.
Yeah,
So,
and the staying in the scope of practice, I think, is so important. The fact that you mentioned that, I
Yeah.
appreciate that because I say that a lot too. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist, a board
Yeah.
certified, but people who trust you and know that you are truly doing the work, because it's not just getting one certification and you're done, which there are people
No.
out there that do that. It is a continuous thing, my friends, that we are things are constantly changing and coming out.
Yes.
So those are the
Especially in this field.
oh
Everybody has
yes,
their eyes on it now, so everybody's finally studying it.
and everyone's a
Which is great.
coach, right?
And
So
everyone's
find
a, with air quotes,
coach, right?
coach.
So finding
And this is
someone who
something that gets
understands
my
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
it gets my goat when people
I
are like,
get
"I'm
it.
a coach." And I'm like, "Well, where did you get certified?" And they're like, "What do you mean?"
Or
Like,
even beyond the certification, it's not just taking a weekend class and suddenly you've got something after your name. It really is understanding because you can do more damage than good. So if I were to
mhm,
refer somebody who needed support in the area of perimenopause or menopause, also fitness, because let's not
mhm,
forget how well versed you are in that. I mean, this
mhm,
you and I met during our journey with Daily Burn, but you were already in the fitness world. You've worked with other fitness companies
mhm,
afterwards as somebody
mhm.
that's had a pretty high position as well.
Yeah.
You understand this. So putting those things together, if I were to get a question about this and it's outside my scope of practice, right? Having people like you are important, and
Thank you.
you're right. It builds, it takes a village,
It does.
Yeah.
And I operate from a place of incredibly high integrity. I
Yeah.
learned that early on in my career that you have to put your money where your mouth is. You have to do what you say you're going to do. And when you have other people's health and wellness in your hands, in the palm of your hand, it is your responsibility to make sure you are fully accredited because health is too valuable to mess around with. And I want to help people in the purest way. Having said that, the thing we do as a coach is everybody comes with a different set of symptoms. Everybody comes with a different experience, with a different panel of blood work and hormone levels at a different stage of life with different needs and wants. And so as a coach, I coach to what's probable and not what's possible.
Mm,
You know, I
love
and it's
that.
very much I am your tour guide, but it's very much up to you to do the work. I'm not going to prescribe you. Yeah, I'm not going to do what I wanted my coach to do back in the day. I would say like, give me a magic vitamin and it's going to go away. No, we make commitments to do work. We make a plan. We see what's probable. We see what's most likely, what you're most likely to succeed at doing
Mhm.
based on what your values are,
Yeah.
based on what your values are, not mine.
We
And then we try stuff out.
right.
We
We call
try
it
stuff out.
bioindividuality in the world of integrative nutrition, which
Yep.
is another great program for certification. But when I was going through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, they coined this term bioindividuality,
Yep.
which means every person is different. Even if we are the same age, same gender, same life experiences, your vehicle, this temple of yours that no one else owns, is operating a little differently. Even if it,
Absolutely. Even if our
so
hormone numbers are the same,
yeah.
our bodies operate differently.
Yeah. And it's
Mhm.
really meeting people where they're at with their needs, not what you think, oh, you're this age, you're this gender, this is
Mhm.
what you need. And it's not cookie cutter. I get
Mm-mm.
that. I get asked that a lot as a practitioner, especially working on the mental health side. How does your session go? And I'm like,
Mhm.
your session with me today could be different from the one next week. Can be
Yeah.
different from the
As it
there's
should.
as it should. So there's no
Yeah.
cookie cutter. There might be a
Mm.
process, but understanding who is before you and how you're showing up for them, you would want that to be the same as somebody showing up for you. That's how I
Yeah.
treat it. Yeah.
Yeah. Our job
Yeah.
is to ask a lot of questions to figure out what's really important to
Mm.
people. Everybody I work with goes through an exercise creating their menopause vision statement. And it starts
Love
with
that.
really evaluating what's important to you as you age and how we're going to keep you optimized for what's really important to you as you age. And that's how I start. So sometimes I'll start with nutrition. Sometimes I'll start with exercise. Sometimes I'll start with sleep. It just depends on what they need first. And then we keep knocking it out. And that's just how we work. But there's so far in my practice, no two people need the same thing at the same time.
Yeah, it's constant work too, because keeping up with our clients and making sure you're supporting them on their needs and being that guide for what they need compared to someone else. But what's beautiful, and I want to mention this because this is a good place to mention this. You do have this incredible, and oh my gosh, this girl loves play on words, so I love this. You have your menoparty. Yes. And I want to talk about that because it's very similar. You and I are so similar in a lot of ways, but still different by individuality. I have the monthly Havening happy hours. You have something called a menoparty, which is every 2 weeks. Yep. Let's talk about that so that people know there is support if they're not able to work with you one-on-one.
Yes. Oh, do I love the menoparties. So the menoparties are a free Zoom online party. They're at 8:00 at night, every other Tuesday, usually. And sometimes I have special guests on. So last week I had Dr. Liz McGinley on, who is a pelvic health specialist and a chiropractic sports physician. And we talked all about what happens to our joints, tendons, and pelvic region as we go through menopause. And she was incredible. Sometimes we have what I call an all skate, where I do flash coaching. So everybody comes on, we wear our pajamas, we have I have like hoodies that say ain't no party like a menoparty. I wear that. And we just show up and build community around this phase of life, which is so vital. And we have such a good time. We laugh really hard, and I record them. And if you can't make it live, I send it out the next day. But it's just a really wonderful place to meet other women who are in a similar situation, to get a little bit of information about how to handle certain things that someone else might be getting coached on, but you're also identifying with as well. And I have made sure every single session is free, no strings attached. There's no, you don't have to buy anything to get it. It's just you sign up and you are invited, and you're always invited, and you will forever and ever be invited. And we just laugh a lot. And sometimes it goes into, we talk about sex, we talk about sleep, we talk about stress, we talk about family drama, we talk about our kids and our parents, and we talk about dry eyes and ringing ears and palpitations and incontinence and peeing when you're doing jumping jacks and like thousands and thousands of things. But it's so much fun and always free. And it's really important to me because I really believe that putting a paywall behind vital information, I have a problem with that. And of course, I need to do it for certain offerings of mine because I do need to make a living. But so right now the options are I always want to have a free option. So the free option is the menoparties, which are great fun. And then I have a coaching program that I am launching very soon. That is, it's a group coaching. So it's a monthly fee, and you get group coaching every single month, and you get access to my online community, and we talk there all the time and share recipes and stories and support each other, and it's really lovely. And then of course I do my one-on-one as well.
Love it.
So lots of different tiers.
The fact that you're offering something for free, and I feel the same way, because I've had people mention to me like, why aren't you charging for this? I'm like, because I have other ways to provide myself with income from people working with me one-on-one. This is an opportunity because it is a right. This is a human right that every person should have access to some degree. Obviously, coaching someone one-on-one in a group experience can be difficult anyway, but you want to have more of a possibility for people to share and connect and know that they're not going through this alone. They're not alone in this battle. So, and making it fun, talking about menopause, talking about mental health, whatever it might be, is what breaks down the barriers that have been there for so long, probably the barriers that we went through as Gen Xers and before, generations before the silent generation. So I love this. I love that you love the name more than anything.
My menoparties.
I love it. And we're going to put all this in there. We're going to have links in the
come to my menoparties.
Yes, we're going to put the links to Erika's one-on-one sessions as well as the menoparties, just so you can get in touch with her. We're going to have that available to you in the podcast notes so that you can get yourself on the potty, right?
Get right, baby. Get right with me.
So what I want to do, we got a lot of questions that came in.
Awesome.
And as recent as I was just at my trainer and there were a bunch of girls asking me questions, I'm like, let me write it down. Some of them overlap because they are mainly the same questions that a lot of us have, but some are a little more specific. So let's just go to the questions. You ready for it?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. This is actually from Christine. She's from Michigan. And she did ask, that's your, right? Okay.
I went to Michigan. Yes.
You did go to Michigan. So Christine from Michigan says, what sort of exercise is best when you're in menopause? Or is it that any kind of exercise is good as long as you're doing something? Very good question, Christine.
Great question. You want to try for 150 minutes of exercise per week. You want to get in a good amount of cardio, but not high intensity anaerobic cardio. You want to stay in that zone 2, zone 3 moment. So think power walking, put on a weighted vest and take a walk, go walk on an incline so that you get your heart rate up. I do a special strength training in my program, Move and Win, which is a little movement platform that I have and that all of my clients get for free, called Peripheral Heart Action. And Peripheral Heart Action is strength training, but it is formatted in a way that you alternate exercises between lower body and upper body with no breaks in between so that your heart rate stays up, because what you're doing is you're drawing blood flow to your upper body and then to your lower body and then back. And it goes and goes like that. So it actually keeps your heart rate elevated and therefore provides great metabolic value because you're burning calories longer throughout the day. So those are your cardio options. And then strength training, pick up the heavy weights. You're going to want to really strength train because as we lose estrogen, we lose lean muscle mass, we lose bone density, and that increases our likelihood in our postmenopausal life for coronary disease, diabetes, high cholesterol, injury in falls and fractures, osteopenia and osteoporosis. So you really, really want to just intensify your strength training. Pick up the weights. If you don't know how to pick up the weights, hit me up. I'll help you. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't need fancy equipment. But integrating strength training into your life, I would say 3 times a week, if you can, is so valuable. And get a little plyo in there for bone density.
Yeah.
Whether it's little box jumps or just taking, sometimes on my stairs right here, I'll just do step up and jump back down, step up and jump back down, just to get a little bit of that impact in. It makes a big difference in maintaining bone density.
And if you have a difficult time jumping, you can do it with just a step up, step down, right?
Absolutely.
Because obviously don't want to lead to any injury. That's really important. And that comes up a lot. The osteoporosis, obviously, while we are recording this, we've been talking a lot about women's health, Women's History Month in March, and the fact that, we just had Heart Health Month, and women are the highest number that is prone to getting heart disease. And cardiac health is very important for women. So I love this question because you went even deeper. So take note of this, Christine, and those listening. Good
luck, Christine.
Yes, she's on the journey, and she's in a couple of our other groups that we're in. So I know that she works out. So she's stepping it up a little bit. Great question.
Love it.
Great question, Christine. We got one that just came in, so I'm actually going to the Book of Face. Okay. So I'm going to be reading this this is a cold read, back from our theater days.
Cold read. You're an expert. You're going to crush it.
Oh my gosh, I don't know about that. All right, Sarah, she has a question about sleep. That's why I'm doing this question, because it's so, so important. Every trainer that I've ever followed exclaims that the benefits of good sleep, the importance of sleep to a good workout. And she says she agrees. However, hot flashes and night sweats are the antithesis of a good night's rest. I hear you, girl. How do I get a good night's sleep when I'm constantly getting up hour by hour with hot flashes and night sweats? Ooh, that is a good question, Sarah. Really good question.
This is a multifaceted question. First of all, thank you for sharing about your sleep struggles. You are not alone. This is a major, major issue. Vasomotor symptoms go haywire during perimenopause and menopause. And so the first thing we would want to do is try to reduce the likelihood of your hot flashes. And so to do that, you take a multifaceted approach with good nutrition, talking to your healthcare provider to see if you are a good candidate for hormone replacement therapy, because the best way to treat those symptoms is with HRT. If it is something that you're interested in doing. There are some medications that can make hot flashes worse. There are some foods and drinks that can make hot flashes worse. Alcohol, I'm looking at you. So if you, unfortunately, alcohol
I get it. I need my wine.
Makes hot flashes so much worse. Sugar makes hot flashes so much worse. And eating late meals, you want to increase your protein. You want to increase your fiber in your diet. Make sure that you have a really nice balanced diet and try to mitigate stress by setting your sleep schedule. Also, lower the temperature in your bedroom. Sleep naked or with a little tank top on. Take your sheets off and give yourself a fan. You know, there are lots of ways to prop yourself in a way that the hot flashes go away. But lowering your stress level, getting rid of sugar and alcohol and inflammatory foods, HRT, that's going to help you alleviate your hot flashes. Without knowing more about your history or, you know, all of those things, this is a blanket statement. And obviously regular exercise will help with your hot flashes as well. From a sleep perspective, my question would be, do you go to sleep and wake up at the same time every day? And if not, how can you adjust your lifestyle so that you can start that process? And the reason why I ask is because there are other hormones at play here. The hormones melatonin and cortisol. High cortisol can cause more hot flashes. If you are not sleeping, going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, your cortisol and your melatonin are going to be a little bit skewed. So when we go to sleep, our melatonin gets high, our cortisol gets low. When we wake up, our melatonin is low, our cortisol should be at the highest point of the whole day when we wake up. And that's why sometimes when we do a hormone panel, we want to do it first thing in the morning so we can test our cortisol like right when we wake up. So if we are eating late, if we are watching stressful television shows right up until we go to sleep, if we are having excited conversations, if we are drinking alcohol, if we are out partying or just engaging in a stress-inducing state, working out at night even, our cortisol stays high longer and our melatonin doesn't kick in until later. And that will mess with your sleep schedule. You want to really tune into your circadian rhythms here because that's going to help your hormones regulate.
Yeah. I love that you're bringing that up.
Yeah. Everything is related. So to increase your melatonin production at night, dim all the lights in your house. If you're going to watch TV or look at social media, try not to do it at least an hour before bed. If you do, use blue light blockers and try to regulate the type of content that you're consuming right before you go to sleep. And then try to wake up at the same time every day so that your body gets into this rhythm where cortisol is happening. And if you can, try to delay drinking coffee for an hour after you wake up so that your natural cortisol kicks in before you stimulate with caffeine.
That is so important. Everything you just said, and it's going above and beyond. And look, I'm a coffee drinker. I try to get away from it, but the caffeine will kick in. I have to know when to stop it. because I feel the change in my body when I have the caffeine. And, also, I'm going to throw this in there. While you're listening to this episode afterwards, after you have this amazing conversation that you're tuning into with myself and Erika, check out episode 140, because I did an entire episode on sleep within the sleep expert, Mollie Eastman, on episode 140. So tune into this. That's what I'm talking about. We're all in this collective together, and it's giving you really valuable information that you can share. Because what made me think about that, Erika, is that you touched on the lights in the home. Yeah. Because we have all these bright lights in our home, and it doesn't allow us to come down. So
put a dimmer everywhere.
Yeah, or the red lights or the blue lights. Something that looks like sundown is so important. I'm telling you, it makes a difference with sleep. It really does.
Because your body recognizes it as it's time to get ready to go to sleep now.
That's correct. So anyway, Sarah, great question. Sarah's from Washington State. I love when we have people all over the country and the world. Appreciate that question. All right, we're going back home here. We're coming back to Joycey. This is from Jenny.
Okay.
Hi, Jenny. Jenny puts a little humor in her stuff. I know Jenny very well. Is it true that even after you go through menopause for 12 months, or you go through 12 months with no period, rather, you can still experience menopause symptoms like hot flashes?
Absolutely. You can have symptoms of menopause for up to 10 years before and 10 years after. Menopause is defined as 1 day.
Yeah.
So menopause is marked when you go 365 days without a period. Once that day passes, you are post-menopause, and your symptoms can last well into your 60s.
She's going to love the answer to that question, because
I'm very sorry to let you know.
Because she followed up.
No, perimenopause can last 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I still cycle regularly, but my perimenopause symptoms are real life, honey. And my estrogen levels are low. My testosterone levels are low. I have no progesterone, but yet somehow my body temperature is going up and down. So I know I'm cycling. So because I don't get a period anymore, TMI, I had an endometrial ablation in 2019. So it's glorious. I haven't had a period since then.
Again, it goes back to the vehicle, understanding your vehicle. Do I have enough oil and gas in this vehicle? What's going on? I have not had, and TMI, this we can share here. That's what this is all about. We can share. And by the way, Jenny had a little humor to that, because there is humor in the healing. And she said, I definitely want to sell my uterus ASAP because I'm done. Girl, I get it. She's like, eBay's, I get it. But understanding your body and being able to befriend it and understand what you're going through. And it's a process. I have not had one in 2 years. So like at that 1 year point, I'm like, oh, is this it? Like, are you there, God? It's me, Hilary.
Full circle moment.
I keep trying to find Margaret, but she's been so busy. So, understanding yourself is really important. So Jenny, listen, I hope that answers some of your questions. You got me, you got the community. And just keep listening to your body. Please don't sell your uterus on eBay.
Yeah. I mean, if I could say something like quasi-serious about the idea of like wanting to sell your uterus on eBay. Mine's for sale. No, I'm just kidding. If I could say something serious, it reminded me that in this period of life, there is a lot of grief.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And because yes, we do. We feel like our bodies have abandoned us. We feel like our bodies have turned against us. We are mourning that our bodies are not operating the way that they used to. We are mourning that we can't keep weight off the way that we used to, or that our sex drive isn't what it used to be, or that our skin is dry, or that our eyesight is going, or that our hair is thinning. We are grieving that we are past our reproductive years. We are grieving a lot of things. And so it's really important to acknowledge that. Like, yeah, we joke about like, yeah, I'm done. Like somebody just come in and take it all, but careful what you wish for, right? Because
that's such a good point, Erika. And it is grief. It is loss. And when we really show up for ourselves and realize this is a process of what we're going through. And you even mentioned it, like really understanding this beautiful process of aging. There's going to be bumps and bruises, just like there are in every stage, every decade of our lives. But the grief of not being able to have children, I hear that one a lot in session, or just, even if you didn't want children or have children, which I didn't, it's the idea that biologically I can't.
Mm-hmm.
It's something being taken from us.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, looking at it as grief is something that allows us to show up for ourselves.
And for many women in this phase, in this age, we have kids that are leaving the nest.
Yeah.
So that's another piece of grief because then the child is gone. Your main focus for the last 18 years is gone. And all of a sudden you're like, well, now I'm all washed up. Like, what am I going to do now? You know, and that's where we really have an opportunity to lean into the newness of this phase of our life and the possibility and really lean into that persona of being this wise, wonderful, full woman who, or person with ovaries. We don't want to discount our lovely and wonderful trans friends. We want to be really able to be grateful for this transition. And that is really hard sometimes. So that's another one of my really big goals is to help people embrace and love a postmenopausal life.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, you hit the nail on the head. It makes me think a little bit about my hug it out method, which is about in the healing. You have to have the humor. You have to be able to understand what you're going through personally and have gratitude for self, the HUG. And once you have that, you're able to better show up for yourself, better show up for others. So just hold space for yourself, my friends. You know, this is a beautiful process that we're going through together, or have been through, or will go through, or you know somebody, like I said at the beginning of this conversation, will know somebody who is going through it. So even if it isn't your journey, somebody is going through it that you know. So show up for them.
Trauma to triumph.
Trauma to triumph, girl. You know it. All right, we have one more question. Thank you for that question too, Jenny, and just for us going further into it. Yeah. Lily in California. Oh, girl. You and I were just talking about this, Erika. Brain fog. It's my battle.
Oh, God.
That's all she wrote. She wrote, brain fog is my battle. What the heck can I do?
Oh, God. Brain fog is the worst. Brain fog is the worst. I'm experiencing a lot of brain fog today, actually. And I told Hilary before we went live, I'm really afraid that I'm going to lose my train of thought and that my brain is going to like exit the building.
See, this is the conversation, because that's you think you're alone in it. And I have conversations with my boyfriend all the time. Like, I'm forgetting everything. And you start thinking like, is this early onset Alzheimer's? What's wrong with me? And we start saying things like, what's wrong with me? That's got the kibosh on that, right?
Yeah.
So share your thoughts on this question.
Number one is sleep. I know personally, I can talk about me because I am in my body right now and I am experiencing what you're talking about. So I know that this weekend I lost a lot of sleep. We had plans on Friday night where we were out late. Saturday night, I went to a friend's house and came home later than I usually would. I've had a little bit of high functioning anxiety the last few weeks because of some family stuff going on. And I know it has deeply affected my sleep. And when I don't get good sleep and I don't get my regular exercise, my brain fog is much, much worse. And so I would say sleep, and I would say stop multitasking. We as women think that we can and should be multitasking all of the time. Multitasking does us no favors. So if you combine, like really regiment your sleep, try to get that quality sleep. I take magnesium glycinate before bed every night. And I also drink tart cherry juice before I go to bed, which has natural occurring melatonin from tryptophan in it. And it helps me sleep. I'm just sharing what I do. Obviously, I don't prescribe these things, but if it works for me, it might work for you. But when I try to multitask, just turn off your phone. Don't go on social media. Don't get that like monkey brain situation going on. It's not going to help you right now. Go get some fresh air, take a walk, get the blood flowing in your body, and get some sleep. That's, for me, what helps me almost immediately.
That's really good. So you take magnesium, not just magnesium, you're taking magnesium.
Glycinate.
Yeah. So we'll add that just so people have that in the the notes and
Yeah.
they can do with what they want. But, another way, and I'll just share this too, do a few moments of havening, like sit there,
Yes.
lie in your bed, do a little havening. I actually have a video on hormones and hot flashes for havening, but I'm going to do one on sleep because this is a big topic. And I have a hard time sleeping. I have sleep apnea. So I have to settle my mind and stepping away, like you said, from technology, even keeping it out of the room is a big thing. But just sitting there and like giving yourself 2 minutes just to self-soothe could put your brain in that delta wave state, which is sleep state. So, you want to get into that subconscious mind, but be in the subconscious in a positive, because then your brain starts racing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I actually took my digital clock out of my room
Smart.
a month ago because I was having anxiety knowing how many minutes I was awake in the middle of the night. I was like counting minutes. I was like, it's been 46 minutes. I am still awake. Why am I still awake? Why am I thinking? Nothing that you're thinking about in the middle of the night is productive. And it's not real. All the anxiety, it's not real. It's like there's nothing that's sensical about what you're thinking about, what you're spinning about in the middle of the night, and you can't do anything about it anyway, right? And I tell myself this. So tools that I use to get back to sleep, just while we're talking about it, tapping.
Yep.
I do a lot of tapping. And if you don't know about tapping, EFT tapping, it's amazing. And I think of it as like an outside in, just like havening. Tapping and havening are the same in that
they're both psychosensory approaches that use touch.
You don't put your mind to it. It's not like meditation where you're like, clear your mind. It's like, I'm going to tap here. I'm going to tap here. I'm going to tap here and here and here and here and here. And it's going to regulate your nervous system, just like havening. I'm going to touch my hands. I'm going to touch my face. I'm going to give myself a little something, and it's going to soothe myself, like self-soothing tactics. Yes. And I also listen to sleep hypnoses.
Yes, we talked about that when we were chit-chatting. Hypnosis is great. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and it's been helpful for me to learn from, well, again, like the certification, right? But going even deeper and listening to, there's so much content out there, my friends, on YouTube. Find the ones that are legit and tap into it, because it can actually really be helpful, the sleep hypnosis. Yeah.
Yes. Just make sure you bookmark them so you don't have to go searching YouTube at 2:00 in the morning, because that's not going to help you.
Because then then your brain is in a whole, that's a whole different, that's actually really good.
I use the
point.
Aura app, AURA. They have great sleep hypnoses.
Great. Love that. All right. Well, those are our questions. Let me check to see if we got any others, because we got to play a little game real quick. I want to just, I like these last minute folks that send their questions. We'll check real quick. Doesn't look like we got any more, because you answered some of the questions. Nope. I take that back. We have one more question, and I'm going to get them in if I can. Let's see. This is from Wendy. And okay, good question, Wendy. Wendy said, is it possible to lose weight when you're in perimenopause? Haven't changed my diet and workouts, but managed to pack on some weight, and I cannot lose it now. Wendy, my dear, let's see what Erika has to say.
I have a lot to say about this. First of all, I would want to know, as your coach, what did you do to change your diet? Restrictive eating is not your friend in perimenopause, because you need more than you think you do, and you need to really up your protein and your fiber. Protein and fiber. For women, we're going 25 grams of fiber per day at least. And protein, you want to get 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal. Want to eat. You want to eat all the good things. Stop counting calories. Stop counting calories. You just want to eat more protein and fiber. What was the other
at least
part?
100 grams of protein a day. Again, just had this conversation too. And what did you say? 25 grams of fiber, right?
For women, at least 25.
That's a really good question, Wendy. Thank you for asking that. That just popped in. So I'm
well,
glad
there was another part of that question.
Oh, let me go back and check real quick. So Wendy said that she hasn't been able. She's been packing on the weight. I can't lose it now. So it was just a statement. She hasn't changed her diet or workouts.
So the loss of estrogen causes a redistribution of weight in the body and the accumulation of visceral fat, which is around the abdominal area. So the belly fat situation definitely without changing anything can come upon you in menopause or perimenopause very suddenly, actually. And so that's why with the visceral fat, we have to incorporate the nutrition piece, because visceral fat does not perform the way that subcutaneous fat performs. So subcutaneous fat is easier to gain and lose. Visceral fat is really persnickety, and it really depends on what you eat. What you eat and what you do not eat. So you want to avoid inflammatory foods. You want to avoid sugar and alcohol if you can, added sugars. You want to just pack your day with whole foods and good quality food, not processed.
Yeah.
And you want to exercise in that zone too. That is going to help you lose weight. But all of the high intensity HIIT workouts, all the crazy indoor cycling, all the anaerobic workouts that we used to do in our 20s and 30s, it's not going to serve you now, because that just makes your cortisol high, and it's not going to give you the recovery that you need.
Yeah.
So it all feeds into the same. But diet and exercise are huge. Stop dieting, stop counting calories. And we grew up, I mean, I'm Gen X. We grew up with this restrictive diet mentality of you have to count calories. You can only have 2,000 calories a day. And then we over-exercise to compensate. None of that is going to work for you now. We have to completely reprogram our minds to live differently in these bodies, because these are different bodies than they were in our 20s and 30s.
Yeah, Wendy, I get you. I was a kid that went to, well, we called it fat camp, which just putting shame on us right there. But I went to a camp that was counting calories and making sure it's calories in, calories out. Get this amount. You can't work out like you did when you were 13 or 14 or 15 or even 20. Just the movement, like Erika said, the 150 minutes a week, that's 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, right? Doing the weight-bearing exercise and really being mindful of the amount of protein. Actually, just have as much protein as possible, you know?
I mean, really.
Like, there's really no limit.
Just eat as much protein as you possibly can.
There's just so much that your body will absorb and process. But if you go over, you're fine with that. And then getting that good source of fiber. Because again, taking care of our heart health is really important as well. So these little tips will be helpful for you, Wendy. You are supported. Know that you can find support. You got it, girl. So those are some great questions. And thank you to everybody that submitted. Now let's play a little game with Erika.
Oh, dear.
All right. As we close things out, Hilary loves to do a game called Rapid Fire, where I actually mention a word that you brought up during this conversation, and you come back with the first word that comes to mind.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Love it. There's so many times I think it would be better to do this at the beginning, but no. Let's close that on a high note.
Just the first word that comes to mind.
First word that comes to mind. I will throw out some words that you have said. Just come back with the first word, like boom, boom, boom. Let's do it. And I know this is going to be really great because you have brain fog. All right, here we go. Hormones.
Complicated.
Sleep.
Essential.
Period.
Sucks.
Menopause.
Long haul.
Self-care.
Self-care, you said? Mm-hmm. Necessary.
It's one word. It's hyphenated. Sugar.
In limited quantities. That's more than one word.
That's okay. No
quantities.
No judgment.
Sorry, in limited quantities.
Fine. We'll put hyphens in between it. Yeah. Midlife.
Privilege.
Fitness.
Cornerstone.
Brain fog.
Sucks. Scary. Brain fog is scary.
It is a little scary. But again, understanding where you're coming from helps, right? And woman.
Powerful.
Yeah. I had to end it on a high note. Look, we're going through stuff. Ladies and those who identify as, tuning in, we're going through stuff. Guys and those who identify as and are tuning in, we're going through stuff. So
we are going.
We just have to support each other.
Alone.
Yeah, we're not alone in the battle, you know. And this is a part of life and change, and it's not always pretty. But
No.
understanding yourself is what empowers you, right? This
And
goes back.
finding the glimmers in it, finding
Yeah.
the humor, finding the community and the camaraderie,
Mhm. Yeah, and attending a menoparty.
and coming to a menoparty.
Again,
Yes.
we're gonna put everything in the link of the podcast notes, but I want to give you a moment, Erika, to share a final note. What are your final thoughts with those tuning into Holistically Speaking?
Well, first of all, thank you, Hilary, for having me. It is just so great to see you. And I love what you're doing with your podcast. I think it's so important.
Thank you.
And it's such great quality content, quality everything. So thank you for letting me be a part of it. I think as a closing, I would just say hang in there. You are not alone. There are resources out there for you. All of your feelings are real and valid, and all of your symptoms are real. And while we might not be able to fully alleviate them all, and while we will never be able to go back to what we were, we are all able to become something so much wiser and live a full and gratifying and beautiful life in menopause.
Beautiful. Love that. What a beautiful share. Thanks, Erika. This has been great. Love you dearly. I'm so
I
glad
love
that
you
you're
too.
on this journey. And I don't just mean the menopause journey. I mean the journey of supporting yourself and others. So it's great having you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, Sunshines, your questions have been answered. And listen, if you want to take it a step further, there is no time like the present to check out one of Erika's menoparties. They are free. They happen every other week. It's a chance to come together as a community and talk about some of these topics. So I would say check the links in the podcast notes of this episode to find out more about the menoparties, how to work with Erika one-on-one, or even just connect with her on social media or her website. And listen, we also talked about the importance of self-care, did we not? And one of the things that I have actually created was how to do self-havening for hot flashes and those hormones. I did this a while back, but I'm going to put a link to that in the podcast notes of this episode as well, so that you can follow along on a guided havening experience with yours truly and give it a try. And listen, if you found this episode helpful, do me a solid, leave a rating or review wherever you do your listening, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or even on YouTube or any of the other platforms that we are on, which we are on all of them. And leave a message, because make sure you're also downloading and subscribing, because then that allows others to find this episode or this podcast in general, and it's paying it forward. So do yourself a favor, do others a favor, and do me a favor. Holistically Speaking is edited by Two Market Media with music by Lipbone Redding and listened to by you. So thank you for joining me for this party every week and finding more ways to turn your traumas into triumphs and be kind to your mind. It doesn't go unnoticed. On that note, remember that you are never alone in this battle or whatever you are facing. You are supported, you are loved, and I'm always here to continue pressing record. I'll see you next week. Be well.
I know the girl with mountains in her eyes.